Hey everyone, my name's Jim Bob. How the hell are ya? So I just wanted to make a quick discussion video on a topic that's trending. Oh wow, me covering something that's trending. What's going on here? I must have died and came back as a new person entirely. Anyway, I just found out today, or however long ago, depending on when this video goes live, that there's going to be a TV adaptation of The Last of Us on HBO Max. And I just wanted to give my thoughts on this subject and why I'm not happy, because the world right now seems completely hell-bent on remakes, reboots, remasters, sequels, prequels, sequels, quequels, and all that shit. And not all of it's a bad thing. This is just something I take issue with, not because I don't think it could be any good, because I believe it's just a little unnecessary. So let's take a look at this. So, Pedro Pascal, known for his role in The Mandalorian, has been cast as the game icon Joel from the video game The Last of Us. Now let me clarify, Pedro Pascal is a damn good actor, and if anyone could potentially pull this role off, it's possibly him. But at the same time, I've got this little shoulder devil poking me in the ass telling me that this isn't going to sit right with me. The Last of Us, well the first game anyway, is my all-time favourite video game. A post-apocalyptic America in ruins, infected roaming everywhere, and one very beautiful, stretched-out, character-driven story of a man named Joel, finding a purpose in life again when he meets young Ellie. Now the dynamic between these two characters is so beloved from people all over the world, and the interactions they have with each other are some of the best storytelling elements that I've ever seen put inside a video game. So I'm going to spoil the game story for The Last of Us 1 and 2, so I'm pretty sure most of you guys have played them by now, but just in case you haven't, there's your warning. So we all know by now that Joel's daughter Sarah was killed at the start of the first Last of Us game, and then it cuts to 20 years later and Joel is a complete shadow of his former self. This guy is messed up, he's grumpy, he barely cares for anybody but himself, other than finding a close bond with another character called Tess. And when he meets Ellie, the tides turn and Joel finds meaning again, a figure in his life that he can once again become someone who cares. So you can imagine everyone's frustration when he got his head bashed in with a golf club in The Last of Us 2. Ellie is another fantastic character. She's the girl who's immune to this massive infection going around that's turning humanity into zombies. Everyone in her life leaves, yet Joel is the one who stays by her side, and she finds a father figure in her life again. So already we have a beautiful story about two characters trying to make their way through a ruined apocalyptic America while finding out who they are as people as the journey goes on and learning to grow from one another. There you go, an already fantastic story. So why the hell does it need a live action adaptation? This happens so much with so many pieces of iconic media. Some video game characters translate to live action in an okay sort of way like Sonic the Hedgehog, but Joel and Ellie, God, we don't need this, man. What happened to movie media and their original ideas? It seems very much absent from the world at the moment. I know there are a few exceptions which are sometimes better than what we got before, but 9 times out of 10 you're just playing with fire. Now I get remaking something like Kong vs Godzilla because the movie's really old, and while you can appreciate what it was back then, it doesn't hold up all that well. And I understand something like Marvel too, because there's endless possibilities with stuff like Marvel, but whenever has adaptating video games ever gone accordingly? To me, Sonic the Hedgehog is the best video game ever made, but that doesn't mean it's a complete masterpiece. I mean, I thought it was fine, but when it comes to a deep story like The Last of Us, with high intense, tear-jerking storytelling, I just don't see this being anywhere near as good as the game. There is literally no point. Now the best kind of example I can think of is the Tomb Raider 2013 game for the PS3, which was excellent, and then they adapted it into a live-action movie, and while I thought Alicia Vikander's casting choice for Lara was spot on, this was still just an empty shell compared to the game. I am kinda glad that they're making The Last of Us a TV show and not a movie, because imagine ramming the story of either of the Last of Us games into one movie, it would be a fucking mess. But that still doesn't mean I'm okay with this, because I'm not. I'm really not. I'm like super disappointed. The main problem I have with remaking certain things, and again, I don't mean that I have a problem with all kinds of remakes, but stuff like this in particular, it could ruin your vision of what came before. I suppose the same thing could be said with books, because you could read a book, a really, really good book, and really get into it, you know, the characters, the story, whatever, and then when a movie comes out based on that book, half of the time it's not faithful and you can end up hating it. This is exactly how I feel with The Last of Us TV show. If they're going to pull this off by giving us a story about Ellie and Joel, they have to give us something completely special to pull it off. I'd be okay with the idea of maybe a TV show based in the Last of Us universe, but not about Ellie and Joel. Like maybe you could bring Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey in as Ellie and Joel for little moments of fan service, but keep the focus of the show on a different group of survivors going through their own issues, but keep it within the same universe. I think I'd be okay with that. And just really quickly, I can't comment on the Bella Ramsey casting choice because I've never seen Game of Thrones or anything that she's been in. Anyway, back onto the subject at hand, because there's only two ways that this can go. They'll either make a TV show based on the very first Last of Us game using the same story but change things up a little bit, or they'll make a completely new story focused with the same characters, and sometimes that could do injustice to an already fabulous story that we already have. So yeah, as you can tell, I don't want a Last of Us TV show about Ellie and Joel. I don't need or want one. This game is perfectly fine on its own, but it seems media nowadays doesn't understand the phrase, don't mess with perfection. And yes, if you're wondering, I do have similar issues with the upcoming Uncharted movie as well. Uncharted is another video game series that I love, but The Last of Us is very near and dear to me, and I think it should be left as a video game and nothing else. So let me know what you guys think. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. Leave them down below in the comments for me. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like what I do here, consider clicking that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Remember, it's not just a movie, it's an experience. Take care everyone, and stay awesome.